Whether you're an experienced professional or a fresher, chances are you will almost always come across this question. Whether you're applying at a startup or at Google, Apple, Facebook, you're going to come across this question. It's pretty commonplace. And today I'm going to tell you exactly how you can master this question so that next time someone asks you that, you will leave them with an impression that already gets you the job halfway. So guys, this is actually a trick question. The employer already has your resume in their hands. So why are they asking you this question? Well, that's exactly why this video is made. They want to test your confidence, your communication skills, and they want to see if you are a good fit for the position. Now, this is your one and only chance to make a strong impression. You know that this question is going to be there on the day of your interview. This is your cheat sheet. So you can actually tell them almost anything you want to in this answer. Of course, there has to be a pattern, but you actually have a cheat sheet here. You do not know what else they're going to ask you for the most part, but this question, you know that 99% you will be asked this one. So in this video, we're going to be discussing the perfect answer to this question, whether you're an experienced professional with years and years of experience under your belt or a fresher. Both of you guys will be able to benefit from this video. The next thing we're going to talk about is how do you tailor your response to the position at hand so that the employer is impressed that you've done such due diligence even before you came to the interview. Finally, we are going to tell you some tips and tricks which will actually take you way ahead of anyone who has interviewed before or is going to interview after you for that position. But before we actually go ahead and do that, you need to know a little bit about me. Not only have I aced dozens of interviews in many companies, right from startups to the big firms, but I've also interviewed hundreds of people and I continue to do so almost on a daily basis even now. So chances are I come across applicants that are very well prepared and really want the job, and I come across some applicants who are not so well prepared as well. Now, given my experience, I've also trained a lot of people, and of course, this video is an attempt to train you as well. These techniques are actually directly taken from my experience studying and actually understanding how the culture is in the United States. In fact, when I went to study overseas, this is one aspect that I focused on most. Right from day one, we had interview preparation trainings, and these are just a sneak peek into that. Remember, this question can come in many forms. It's not just tell me something about yourself. That's one way to say it. But what I like to say a lot of times is when the applicant gives me their resume, I say, can you walk me through your resume, please? Because I would like to actually go quickly over what's important to them as an applicant. They can also ask you to simply introduce yourself. Finally, they could also say something like, why are you applying for this position? And even though this is a little bit of a separate question, the answer would be very well similar to what I'm going to be answering next. Let's move on to answering the question, and let's help you understand exactly in just 2 steps how you can master this question. For the purpose of this video, I'm assuming that you are someone who has applied to company X. So the first step, very simple over here, is just the greeting. You just have to go ahead, greet them, know the time, and go ahead and tell them good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, sir or ma'am, whatever you have in front of you. Next thing you want to do is, again, as a part of this greeting, tell them your name and thank them for the opportunity you have. So it'll go something like this. My name is John Doe, and I'd like to begin by thanking you for the opportunity to interview with you today. The most important part of this video, like I said, is the second part of this answer. What are we doing over here? We are going to transition our answer to actually tell them why we are a good fit for this position. We are not just going to introduce ourselves and tell them about our hobbies, our passions. What we want to do and what the employer is looking for is how are you the right fit for this position? So just a couple of tips over here before we actually get into the script for part 2. That is, number 1, always research the position at hand. It's very important to understand what kind of a position you are applying for. Maybe you are shifting your field, maybe you are just continuing in the same field, maybe you're a fresher. It depends, right? But everything has to be researched over here. You need to know the roles and responsibilities that you will be having at that position. It's very important that you understand those to give this part 2 of the answer. And of course, the prerequisites and qualifications that are required as per the job description. You should know them as well. If you have a couple of those, you should capitalize on it. You should mention them. And that's what we are going to do in the part 2 of our answer as well. Now, let's talk about freshers first. What would be the part 2 answer after you've introduced yourself to the person who's interviewing you if you are a fresher? For the purpose of this video, I'm also just assuming that you're applying for software development, but this works in almost any case and any scenario that you are going for. What you want to start with is by telling them about your experiences. Of course, you don't really have any work experience at this point, and I understand that. But tell them about what you learned in college, what kind of projects you did. Maybe you attended some sort of competitions, some hackathons, some internships. Whatever you have done, you want to tell them about those experiences first. So it will go a little bit like this. In the last 4 years at ABC University, I have gained significant knowledge in software development through my coursework, projects, and internships. In fact, only recently, my experiences helped my team and I bag the 2nd position at the ABC Hackathon. So as you can see, over here, all I've done until now is I've just told them about my experiences. I've not talked about them in detail as well. This is just a bird's eye view of everything that I'm going to be basing the next part of my answer on. Okay, next, what you really want to do is you want to focus on a highly relevant experience. What is a highly relevant experience? That is essentially something that is in line with the roles and responsibilities or with the prerequisites for the position at hand. So if you're applying for a position which has basically a lot of web development, you can talk to them about how you may have actually used JavaScript, which is almost, impossible not to use when it comes to web development, right? So again, pick out the exact skill, the exact experience, and then we are going to elaborate on that. So here's what it would look like. Also, last year as I interned with Infosys, I gained hands-on experience on agile software development. It helped me connect the dots between the theoretical gaps in my learning as well. So that's again, you're focusing on one experience and you're laser targeting that one skill set that you may have gained using that experience. In this case, it was agile software development that I learned from my internship at Infosys. Finally, what you want to do is you want to end in style. You want to show how your experience, the one that you just talked about, right? How that will actually help you become a better candidate than everyone else who is interviewing for that position today. So this could go something like this. I understand that the job description favored candidates with knowledge in Agile, and hence I believe that I would be a great fit for this position. I'm certain that I would improve my skill set while producing valuable results for the company. So as you may understand, we started with a greeting, we moved on to all of our experiences, a bird's eye view, how that one experience will help us produce results for the company than almost anyone else who is going to be interviewing today. That is it for freshers. It was really simple, and you can now take a look at the experienced professionals ones. If you're still a fresher also, that's fine, because at the end we have some tips and tricks like I said. Experienced professionals. Again, let's move forward with the greeting. You've already greeted the employer. Now you're going to start with your answer. The first thing you want to do is you want to tell them about the latest 1 to 2 positions that you've held, whichever ones hold relevance over here. Remember, if your resume has a lot of positions that you've held, even 5, 6, you don't have to name them all. Just the most recent 1 or 2, which are highly relevant in this case. So you could begin with something like this. For the last 3 years, I've been working with Infosys as a software development manager. In this case, I only had 1 position and I have only focused on that one. 3 years is a pretty long time frame, so I did not really talk about any previous positions. However, they may still be present on my resume. Now what we want to do is we want to show them how we created an impact in the last position we held. We want to use quantification over here. As many metrics, as many numbers as possible. Remember, that is proof of whatever you are saying. You could claim that I'm so great, I've done this, I've done that, but without numerical proof, there's really very little that you're saying over there that will be believed. So What I would recommend is instead say something like this. During my tenure at Infosys, I worked on various projects, but the major highlight of my career over there was when I worked on project XYZ. I spearheaded the code optimization campaign, which actually resulted in a 240 times boost in the initial page load speed for project XYZ, resulting in $8 million of an increased revenue per annum. My team and I worked really hard on this project, and it took us about 200 man-hours to deliver these results. So you see, what I did over there was I was talking numbers, as many numbers as possible. Increase in revenue, exact numbers are in front of you. Increase in page load speed, exact numbers are in front of you. So those numbers really help the employer understand the kind of impact your work has the ability to create. Finally, just like the freshers, you are also going to map your experiences towards that position, towards the job description. How are your experiences going to help in this position? Why should you be the right fit? So here's what I would say. I know that your firm is also working on a project FGH, which is essentially what caught my attention. I believe that I can produce similar, if not better results while working at company X. As you understand, again, summarizing this experienced professional part also, we talked about our experiences last 1 or 2 positions. We drilled down to one particular project or experience that the employer would be interested in learning about. And then we try to map that experience with whatever the employer is doing right now. Sometimes you may not know exactly what kind of project they're hiring you for, and that's okay. You can still map it with the exact job description. I understand that you were looking for this particular skill, and I believe that I have more than the required experience as per the job description. And again, this is all given your past experience. You're not just talking out in the air. You're actually giving them results from your previous company, previous organization, what kind of an impact you caused, right? So that was the answer for you guys as well. It's pretty simple, guys. And I think if you really go over this video maybe 2 or 3 times, or just write the script down for yourself, and again, the script should be changed for every job that you apply to, you will actually master the skill, and maybe after a point you may not even have to practice. But yes, right now you're gonna have to do a lot of that. Now, as promised, we're gonna talk about the tips and tricks you can use to actually get almost a cheat sheet, right? And get through this question with ease. Some of my favorite tips and tricks for this question are: number 1, always, and I think this is relevant for almost any question out there, but especially for this one, always remember to smile. Trust me, no interviewer likes when they're sitting in front of you and there's really no emotion in the conversation. What a smile can do is wonders, and you have no idea how far ahead you're putting yourself just by smiling. Number 2, don't ramble. Talk about relevant stuff only. Don't talk about, I like to dance, I like to sew clothes, I like to do this, I like to do that. If that is not relevant to the position, you probably want to leave it outside the room. It's not really required, and you're taking up time, and in some cases, you may actually be boring the employer as well. Number 3, research the position. Very important. Even if you do it 2 hours before your interview, but research the position and tailor the script, these answer to the job description of the position that you're going for. Very important over here. Point number 4, keep it short and crisp. If you actually see the answer that I've given you today, it can very easily be spoken in just about a minute. You want to keep it below a minute, in fact. Under a minute basically says that you can basically concisely mention what's in your head, and you can show the employer that you are confident and you are a good fit for the position. Finally, I've already mentioned this above, but again, I think it's important to write it down. Do not talk about your hobbies, which may not be relevant to the position. A lot of times people make these mistakes. They tell me that we like making friends, we like going out to party, we like to dance. All of that is great, and I'm sure that we would be happy to have you in office because of that. But we want to know about why you are a good fit for this position, as in, can you really hold the ship? Can you really hold the fort from falling down? Very important over here, guys. And you really have to understand, when the employer is asking you, tell me about yourself, you really have to drill down and tell them about why you are a good fit for the position. This is Yash Mitra signing out, and again, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to talk to me about this video, or if you have any questions in particular, I'm more than happy to connect on Instagram. I'm reachable over there, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care until then.